Okay, a great song from Room for Squares from the 2001 album is Neon. Tricky little number. As you probably know, we have to tune our low E down to a C. So the quickest way to really do that is to take your C note there and take your E string down till it sort of matches. Okay, we'll look at two things. We'll look at the chords involved and how I'm picking it. Here is that main part that we all want to play. It goes like this. Okay, I guess the best approach with this riff is to take it very slowly, chord by chord. The first chord is a C sus2. This is what we're sort of holding, but we're only concentrating on these two notes. That's the B8 and the 10th fret on the G. And what the rest of it is, you've got some dead notes on the D and the G string. This picking, I mean, John Mayer is using his thumb and his first finger to pick this, and we are concentrating on the original recorded version of this, not the slap acoustic guitar thing he does. So this is a much more precise way of how he's picking it. We'll start with the low E, which is now our low C. And the way to get through this is a picking technique where you cross, let's say the thumb takes care of the low E, and then I've got a dead note with my first finger on the D string, and the dead note is coming because I've got my finger across the D string. Then the thumb comes from the low E across to the G, so we've got. So you might want to spend some time just getting that in your hand. A lot of this is just muscle memory, really. The last two notes are sort of a slap on the B and the G string. They're the notes that you're sounding. So very slowly, just to get this picking technique in your hand, you maybe just want to hold the notes dead and just go. Moving to the next chord, this could be called a this could be called E sus2. Here's what I'm doing. John Mayer is using as you know, using his thumb for all of the root notes on the E string. I can do most of that except the very last chord, but it's the easiest way to play it, really. To get from there is, you know, thumb over. Here's the chord, barring the 3rd fret on the D, the G, and the B, but we've got our second finger on the 4th fret of the B. So this is 3rd fret for that little bar, and there's the 4th fret on the B, and then your thumb over. There's a little transitional open D string. I know it sounds strange when you isolate it like that, but when you actually play it in context, it just sort of slots in there. So for a transition, you've got an open D. So you've got the opening. That's what you want to get. As your hand is moving, you want to just hit that D on the upstroke with your first finger. And then your thumb is now taking care of the root, that 3rd fret of the E string. That's our point on the chord. So thumb, upstroke on the finger, downstroke on the G string, upstroke on the D, thumb on the G, upstroke with our finger on the B. So you get our next chord. We've got a little transitional note there. This is on the D string. Yeah, you've got to use, for this little transitional note, which is on the D string, 5 to 6, you've got to use your little finger. This is one of those things that's harder to play slower than it is fast, but you're sliding up from the 5 to the 6. So from our, now your thumb goes up to the 5th fret on that E. We could call this E flat sus4 over F. Here's the chord. We've got our 4th fret on the B. First finger's taking care of the 3rd fret on the G. Little finger taking care of that sus4. This is the 6 on the D, and our thumb is taking care of the 5th fret of the E. So this picking for this chord is thumb on the low E, finger on the D, crossing to the G string for the thumb, finger on that B string, and then a sort of a slap with our finger on the G string. So what we got so far, I'm going to try and play it insanely slowly. We got this so far. So slightly faster. 3, 4. And you heard, listen out for that little transitional open D string. Listen, I'll do it again one more time. It's quite tasty. It does this. Our next part is taking our thumb and sliding up to our next chord, which is A flat sus2. So we got this is a slide up from where we left off with our thumb to the 8th fret. And this is probably the trickiest part of the riff, is this rake with your thumb. By the way, the chord, I haven't told you the chord. This is, we're holding it with our thumb, the 8th fret. We're barring the 8th fret on the D, the G, and the B, but I'm putting my 2nd finger on the 9th fret of the B, so you get, that's our chord. And here's the rake. So it's a tricky little rake, because you want to get rid of the A string, but I'm actually muting the A string with the thumb. So you get, and the rake ends on the G string, but at the top of the chord you're getting that B string with your finger. So you get, and then you want the finger comes across to hit that last note on the G, so you get. And I do believe there's a little transitional open D string in there. Let me just check, so let me run through it. Yeah, before you hit the rake, you have to hit an open D string again. It's almost like giving you time to get the chord together. If you listen to it, I'll try and play it very slowly. You hear it? Just there. So it's as you're going from this to this, you've got an open D string. Here's our next chord, which is our last chord, is C sus2 over B flat. Now John Mayer, with this low B string on the 10th, sorry, the low E string on the 10th fret, is using his thumb. Now I physically can't actually get my thumb like that. He has very large hands, and that's how he's doing it. But I find it easier just to go from the thumb thing on the chord before and bring my third finger across. So depending on how you want to do it, but he's got very, very big hands, and I think just for us mere mortals, this will probably be the easiest option. The chord is, I'm taking my third finger on the 10th fret of the E, I've got my little finger on the 10th fret of the D, there's my first finger on the 7th fret of the G, and 8th fret of the B. And there's our picking. Thumb, finger, thumb, finger. So that's the whole sequence. You know, as long as you can just keep the groove going and hit roughly those notes, you're going to be fine. But let's just try and play it very, very slowly for you so you can see it all in context. It's probably harder to play a bit slower than it is up to tempo. Here we go. 3, 4. So it's really, if you check out John Mayer, he's really only using, he's just using first finger and thumb. And that's the riff. The riff it goes throughout the song, and once you've got it in your hands, it's all about muscle memory and locking into the groove. It's a great, great part to play. And it's just a bit tricky, and it does take time, especially the picking and doing the thumb thing. I mean, I used my thumbs to do bass notes anyway, but some of the ones he's doing, if you haven't done it before, for instance, that could be quite tricky. That third chord. I mean, I've got fairly big hands, but if you've got small hands, there could be a problem. So you might have to use your third finger. But that's the riff. Great riff.